Right. Introduce yourself.
My name is Alex Gonzalez. This is my project. It's called Borders, and the what I was trying to do behind it is kind of highlight the borders that are created by surrounding communities and the parks that are placed within them. Also highlighting that factor and the clash of man-made versus nature. So these are parks that are in the Philly and New Jersey area. So parks that I've kind of passed by or kind of noticed. And all of these were shot on a DSLR camera. And along with them, I have little QR codes that are scannable for audio. So there was an audio component to it as well to give you that feel of when you're looking at the photo of how the sounds, the differing sounds between cars passing by and the wind and birds chirping. And I was really interested in this project because I really like landscape photography. And this was just something that I'm always passionate about and always looking at. So I'm always looking in nature and at these parks for cool photos and interesting photos. So it was just a cool new perspective that I had never thought about before. And it was really funny because once I started seeing all these borders, they became very, very prevalent and I could not unsee them. So now whenever I go to a park, I'm always looking for these borders and everything that is created between the communities and the parks themselves.
Do you want to walk everyone just through where's what in your photographs and geographically where you shot these?
So all of these except for one are actually in New Jersey. So the big photo and then these three other like smaller ones are all from New Jersey. South Jersey, I forget the name of the town, but it's a small town that's right on the river. And then this is actually taken at Valley Forge Historic National Park. So right across from the Valley Forge Casino. And that's what you can see right there in that photo. And then over here, most of these parks were actually in Philly. So this is wetlands that are protected wetlands that are right smack in the middle of White Marsh High School. And then these images, this is another part of the wetlands in White Marsh. And then this is actually part of the Wissahickon Trail. And this is right off of Lincoln Drive. So as you're passing by that main highway, there's a little bit of a trail that you can go on and kind of walk around. And then this one's actually close to home. This is part of my hometown. It's called the Watchung Lake. So it's a big circle that everyone kind of walks around usually. And then these are also all Philly. So these two, the big one, and then one of the smaller ones are Rittenhouse Square. So right smack in the middle of Philly. And it was just really cool to see that, all the trees and everything right along with a bunch of buildings and mainly concrete. And so the other two are actually from a park called Kelly Park, I believe. And it's a small park that is right in the middle of 4 intersections of residential areas. So each side has a bunch of homes on it. And so I thought it was pretty interesting that there was just a roundabout that you can go in and kind of see all angles of the park.
Does anybody have any questions for our artist before we move to the next artist? Good here. People are giving you thumbs up. Thank you, Alex. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
gonna move over to Anissa. Is our next artist. I'm gonna do a little. I'm gonna do a little pass just across, just to show our live viewers what they're looking at next. These are also Anissa's painting up here. She's got a couple of double-sided pieces that she can talk to you about. All right. Give it up to Anissa.
Hi. So this is my exhibition, Ocean Lives or Ocean Lives. I like to say both. And it's mostly focusing on endangered marine species. And here we have a nautilus, and nautilus are endangered because their shells are very popular on the market. So people fish them and they kill them for their shells and use their shells as decorations. And then this way over here, we have skate eggs. And these things are the eggs of these guys right here. They're deep sea, like ray kind of creatures. And they're endangered, and as well as their eggs are endangered because of ocean temperatures rising due to ocean acidification. And then we have sea angels here. And then we also have another drawing of sea angels over to the top right. And that's a sea angel eating one of its prey, which is a sea butterfly. They're also endangered due to ocean temperatures rising and killing off their prey. And then here we have a peach blossom jellyfish. As you can see, I wanted to do kind of an abstract thing with these miniature black ones, just to make it more fun. So I took a play on the words of peach blossom and drew some actual peach blossom flowers, but they're endangered as well. They're actually located in one part of the world, in China, and they're also endangered due to the water temperatures rising. And then we have a school of crow, which a lot of people really wouldn't know that that's what it is, but that's what they look like all together like that. And they're endangered not only due to ocean temperatures rising, but also you wouldn't guess, but overfishing. They get overfished as well, and we need them because they're the small things that the larger animals eat. And then over here we have the jellyfish, and this piece is one of my favorite pieces just because it incorporates like 3D elements to it. So jellyfish, and a lot of people don't know this, they are the food of sea turtles. Different species of sea turtles will eat jellyfish. And plastic pollution is a big thing threatening our oceans today. And plastic bags, they end up in the ocean. And what happens is sea turtles mistake them for jellyfish, and then they eat them. If you eat too many, it gets in their stomachs and they die. So sea turtles are getting harmed because of plastic pollution. And then over here, we have a scallop hammerhead. This is just one species of a hammerhead shark. However, this represents all shark species in the sense that sharks are being overfished for their fins. So this piece is actually a double-sided piece. Right here we see a dead shark missing its fins, but then as you turn around, you see that it was once alive. And I did this on vellum, so it has that see-through kind of effect. However, shark finning is a big threat to sharks because what happens is they fish the shark while it's still alive. They take it out the water, they cut all the fins off, but they don't need the rest of the shark because what's the most important part is the fins because they use that in shark fin soup. And then they toss the shark back into the water while it's still alive. and it basically drowns. It suffocates because it's not able to swim and have the water passing over its gills, providing it oxygen. So yeah. And then for the last piece, we have a coral reef ecosystem. And coral reefs are a very major part of the ocean because majority of the life in the ocean is located in coral reefs. The smaller marine animals and even larger ones like sea turtles like to be around there too. And so what happens is with the ocean temperatures rising, it kills off a little microorganism that lives in the corals, which keeps the corals alive. And then once that organism dies, the coral starts to die. And what happens is as you come around to the other side here, you start to see what happens is coral bleaching. And that's when the coral turns white, it gets brittle, and then it breaks off. When it breaks off and it's dead, the reef can no longer thrive. And all the organisms that use that reef for shelter and protection from larger animals, they also die as well. And so that's what's happening to our oceans nowadays due to plastic pollution, due to rising temperatures globally, and it's having a really big impact on the ocean, on the planet, but also on the things that live inside the ocean.
So, yeah. Thank you, Anissa. Does anybody have any questions for our amazing artist here?
Can I make a comment?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to say congratulations on the work there. And it's really interesting to see the variety of materials and processes that you're using.
Thank you.
And then it's also interesting to see how you're visualizing something that's quite often hidden under the surface of the water. So when you look out, when you're at the beach and you look out over the water, there's a sense that sort of everything is right in the world. And unless you're sort of looking under the surface and doing your research, it's very easy to sort of forget about all of these other ecological issues that are going on right now because of climate change and because of pollution and things like that. So I think it's really admirable that your work is drawing attention to those sort of key details.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm a really big fan of the ocean. I've loved the ocean ever since I was little, and I love the things that live in the ocean. So it really breaks my heart to see that they're dying due to human effects too.
Yeah.
All of these are things that happen due to the human population.
Yep. And it's nice to sort of use like your creative output as a way to draw attention to those issues too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anissa.
Thank you, Anissa.
Thank you, Steve Rossi. I think that's our sculpture professor who provided that question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Right. Take it away, Maria.
Hi, I'm Marina Wilson. This is my series, Faces of Warriors. And up on the wall, we have different portraits of people who are either currently battling cancer or cancer survivors. The different colored backgrounds represent what type of cancer they are either currently battling or have survived. So for example, here we have Cole, and he is currently battling leukemia. So he's going through treatment. Up here, the green stands for thyroid. So that's my brother-in-law. He's a survivor of thyroid cancer. Towards center here, we have a grid of breast cancer survivors. And then I was inspired to do this project because my mom has gone through 3 different types of cancer. So I have her over here on her portrait is of her uterine cancer of the snake. And all of these are shot in studio with just a white background with LED lights of the different colors showing up on the background.
And then do you want to just tell, I don't know if you already mentioned to the viewers, the title of your series?
Yeah, Faces of Warriors is what the title is called.
And you want to tell people a little bit about what that means to you, Faces of Warriors?
Yeah, so the whole purpose of the project was to do portraits of people so that in my mind, we get statistics every month of whether it's October right now, we have Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're given statistics about how many people are diagnosed each year for breast cancer, have survived or have passed away to it. So I wanted to give people an opportunity to tell their stories and to put like faces to the statistics that are given to us each month. So along with this, they were also like wrote note cards that kind of explain their story and go along with that. So they were able to tell their story and their story was heard. So it gave them an opportunity for us all to hear their stories because although they're all either survivors or currently going through cancer, all their stories are unique. So.
And the question might be, how did you find all these people? How did you find all these people to photograph them?
So I just made a Facebook post and I was lucky to have 50 shares on it within the first weekend of it going up. So just through mutual friends, some of them I knew, some of them were strangers to me when they walked in through the door, but super grateful that they were all willing to be a part of the project.
And it seems like you had the most breast cancer survivor response. Is that, or?
Yeah, that wasn't planned. It just happened to come out that way. I mean, towards the end, I still needed 5 more to fill my grid, so I did look for breast cancer survivors towards the end of the project, but yeah, I mean, the spread was not intended by any means, so.
Could you just go over the other colors that you didn't mention?
Yeah, absolutely. So the light pink is uterine, and then the blues, there's 2 blues, both for colon. Yep. Cool. As mentioned earlier, thyroid leukemia, so there's
Uterine.
Uterine.
Yeah.
all breast cancer,
And then this one at the top,
colon,
colon.
Yep.
Okay.
lung cancer,
And then mom, which you mentioned. Uterine, yeah.
neuroblastoma,
And then the last one.
melanoma,
Okay.
and prostate.
Do we have any questions at all for our artists?
I missed that explanation. Was there a significance behind the color choices in the background there?
Yep, so they all correlate to the ribbon color of the cancer that they are either currently going through or have survived.
Oh, gotcha. Interesting. One thing that sort of stuck out to me as sort of a real strength in this work was the relationship between the title and the way that you've really humanized people. So the idea of like Faces of Warriors, you sort of assume that people would be standing there very stoically, like a warrior, like a stereotype of like a soldier or something. But you photographed everybody in such a way where you really kind of have captured their personality and their individuality as well. So it's just an interesting sort of take on that theme.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Maria.
Marina.
So next we have Andres, and so he is going to be joining us virtually, but I'm gonna go pan through his work and then he'll talk about it in a moment.
Like all my paintings are, well, shapes obviously, but so when I started making this painting, I wanted to make like a huge collage of all these different shapes, and the thing that draws me into them is or the reason why I thought of doing it was because there's not really a focal point in the painting, and it really makes you look at all different areas of the painting. And it really, like, I love all the composition of everything, and I always thought the rainbow was like a cool design to it. For the For all the little ones, I decided to do like solid color or different shades of different colors, just because I wanted to mix it up and do a ton of different colors, like different shades of a color within a painting. Um, and I really like the bold colors that the paintings bring out, and like all the different shapes and designs. The way I made them was I grabbed the painting, the canvases, and laid tape over the entire thing. That's what all the lines are. And then started just adding colors. And when I thought there needed to be like a little contrast, I changed all the colors up. And then in the end, you just peel all the tape off, and that's what gives like the kind of crisp lines to the paintings.
Did you talk about a little bit like how you started working geometrically?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I'd always done other kinds of art, but like different paintings, and I always wanted to make something more visually appealing. Um, and one day I just grabbed 6 little paintings and I just threw tape over it to see what I can come up with. And I love the outcome of the way it turned out. And I thought it was like super cool seeing all the different shapes and like what designs I could make with tape. And I kind of just fell in love with it, just making all these different shapes and these cool designs. And that's why I decided to make this my project, make a whole series of them.
Do we have any questions for Andres? Any questions, comments, anything?
This is Martha Easton. I'm just curious about the way that they're hung. Andres, did you decide the arrangement of the paintings on the wall? Because I really like, it's very appealing the way that they're hung.
I actually I wanted all of them to be like kind of color matched, or like the closest color to them. So it's kind of like a rainbow going all the way across. I unfortunately wasn't there for the setup, but I think that they put like the way that it was hung was exactly how I wanted it hung.
They're really beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, really nice work there. A couple of things that come to mind for me are that I feel like they reference like city grids a little bit, like a satellite view of an urban grid. Was that anything that you were sort of thinking about with this work?
No, I actually hadn't thought about that. I just love to throw different shapes together, and like all the different designs. I pretty much just threw the tape down, and if I didn't like a certain shape, I would just unpeel it and make another shape. I tried to make like a really good contrast of different shapes in there.
Nice.
But I never thought about the city. That's actually a really good way to think about it. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because like they reference that in a really direct way. I was just curious also, like I really like the way that you're working with color, and I was just curious what other artists you were looking at.
I don't really know. I haven't really looked at any other artists in general. I just search up like abstract art, and then there's a ton of different shapes that I really like. I just search up abstract shapes, and I just got a ton of inspiration from looking at a ton of stuff on Google.
Yeah. There's two artists whose names come to mind that might be an interesting reference for you to check out. You may already be familiar with them, but Stuart Davis, his work comes to mind. He was sort of a modernist painter that used a lot of hard edge abstraction. And then also Mark Bradford is another artist who references the city grid, but in a sort of an abstract way, in a similar kind of bringing sort of this a level of like visual kind of energy, kind of activating the surface with this kind of abstract geometric patterning in a similar way that you are.
Awesome. I'll definitely look into them. I'm always looking for more inspiration to improve more works. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Andreas, have you ever painted something that's not colorful?
Um,
I have not. I don't think I've ever seen any work from you that's not
no.
colorful. And I feel like the two monotone pieces on the end there might have pained you to do that.
Yeah, I'm more about all the super bright colors. And I feel like they draw you in more. I have done like a few like charcoal drawings, but I really like to stick with the bright color. Just because I feel like it sticks out so much more and it's so much more appealing for me.
It's nice too how you pair the bright colors with the more muted tones too. So you have kind of a nice balance between the color intensity, and especially in these pieces right here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Andres.
Thank you.
All right, we are gonna go over to Kayla. So I'm gonna just do a quick sort of preview of what we're gonna be looking at before we talk to the artist. All right, take it away, Kayla.
Hi, I'm Kayla Abity, and so my collection focuses on body positivity. And so I have a collection of 3 different mediums. I did prints, I did ceramics, I did hand building, and I also did wheel drawing for these ones. So basically, I had thought about this a lot over the summer with myself personally and everything that was going on around me. Just being able to love yourself and accept yourself and seeing what's going on in the world around us with the BLM movement. So I wanted to incorporate a lot of different skin tones and different ways that women can feel empowered. Um,
Do you want to walk us through some of the ceramic pieces
yeah, sure.
and how you decided to incorporate body with them?
Yeah, so I wanted to, with the colors on the wall, I wanted those skin tones to match the ones that I had the boobs on, just to also represent like skin tone. And then these smaller ones with the blues, those are hand thrown. And I wanted them to have like the kind of tone with the smaller square prints on the wall with the greens and the blues. And the reason why I chose to do these ones with the boobs on them, hand built, was because I liked how it was more organic and it was more of a natural like feel to them. And I didn't want it to be too clean because that's kind of going against like what I wanted to make with, loving yourself and everything being different about, about each piece, which I thought made them even more unique.
And how long have you been working in clay?
So I actually didn't start working with ceramics until I came to college. I always loved art, but I took my first ceramics class summer of my freshman year, and it was a pottery class, and I loved it. It was very fun, and that's kind of where it started with, I wanted to be an art major. I wanted to continue, growing in this medium, and I also love doing photography. And then more recently, I actually started doing graphic design stuff. So that's kind of like my new turn into like, I love ceramics, but like these I did on an iPad, and I drew all of these on there. So that's kind of, where the direction that I'm trying to go in for right now.
Why did you choose the flowers?
So I chose those flowers on the wall to kind of tie in like the bases. And so these flowers, I wanted to make them minimalistic. So those ones would tie in. And same with the colors, with the green squares. I didn't want to do too much, so I had a little bit of white flowers in there. But that's why I wanted to incorporate that. And then like it kind of represents growth also, like to yourself, like personal growth and stuff like that. So that's where I saw the connection.
Other questions for Kayla here? Comments, anyone?
A really, really interesting mix of sculpture and two-dimensional work, like combining sculpture. I don't know if you'd call it photography or printmaking, but it's a really interesting interdisciplinary approach that you have happening there.
Thank you. Yeah, and I tried to figure out a way how they would tie in together and make sense together, and that was a little bit of a challenging part. But since the prints were very minimalistic with the lines, like I didn't want to make the ceramics too complex and like kind of have it like look a little off with the pictures, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice relationships, the way the ceramics reference the body, and then the way that you're using the ceramics as a vessel to hold the flowers, and then you're also doing the line drawings of the plants and including that on the wall. So there's this really nice relationship between kind of 2D and 3D references.
Thank you.
All right, okay. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Kayla.
Kayla.
Thank you.
Krista was the professor for the senior class. And unfortunately, we were supposed to exhibit last April and May, but because of COVID, we got everything pushed back, but we were happy to have a slot this year now that we are back on ground and in the gallery space. So even though we are limited with our numbers, people can still come in and view the exhibit in person as long as you wear a mask. And the exhibit will stay up through November 20th. And we do have the images online as well on the art department website, sju.edu/art.
It all really looks fantastic. And this is, you know, in a difficult situation, I think this is a really nice way of letting the artists talk about their work and giving us a chance to see it, even if we're remote.
Thank you so much, Martha.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I would agree 100%.
And that is it. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
Yep, thank you so much. We are closing out.
All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations. Absolutely.